just like when I received this opportunity of this philosophy and way of life, my spiritual master came to Kauai. Kauai is the most northern island in the Hawaiian chain. And it's small, and there were very few people on the island then. Sure. And I'm living, in the forest, which in Hawaii is basically like a jungle, it's just, and an old Filipino sugar cane camp house. So this Rubenanda came there with the idea just to see, I wonder if anybody on Kauai would be interested in this teaching and the chanting. Like I say, the numbers of people were very small. Everybody there, other than the local people, were either surfers or hippies. But the point is, he just came to this, so small little community, and I was, just very, very ready to hear his message, So it says in scriptures, out of thousands of lifetimes, one may meet a bona fide spiritual master. Thousands of lifetimes. And out of the people who meet such a spiritual master, maybe there's one that will actually understand who this is and what they have to offer, and be very willing to
take the opportunity,
to be connected and accept that. So it's a very rare thing.
Wow. Hey there, and welcome to the Breaking Trail podcast. My name is Ruben, and you'll also meet my friend and teacher Balakhilya here. This episode is about how Balakhilya met his spiritual teacher and the importance of having guidance in our life. So welcome to my living room if you watch the YouTube, or listen to the fire in the background if you're listening on the podcast episode, just the audio. And hope you'll enjoy this and learn something new today. So let's begin.
I think that fireplace is not as efficient as a stove. A standalone stove that just sits out in the floor and it just gets red hot. And
this one.
I can't see it. Yeah, probably.
Because we have two. We have the small one and.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one.
But you're right. It's not like that one's not efficient at all. We just have it for fun. It looks good, but this one is also not. It's efficient, but it burns out too fast. There's something wrong with it.
They have stoves now that you can load them up and they'll burn for 8 hours.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, they're unbelievably efficient and really, really give off a lot of heat. 8 hours on them. You can load them at night and it'll still be going in the morning.
That would be amazing, because then we would be able to, actually, because we don't have any, right now in these times, we don't have any electricity heat on anyway. So if we could load that up in the night and just, in the morning get up and start the fire again, that would be perfect.
You should check into it. They made huge advancement in wood stoves in the last years.
Wow. But I guess if we get a mini house, then, I think we don't need that much. Like, I don't think a lot of...
Well, you won't need that. No, you won't need as much. But
wow, I need to show you outside someday. It's so beautiful, purple clouds, like all over the horizon here.
Oh.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They think that, our listeners, I guess maybe not everyone knows, or maybe you do, because we speak about it all the time, the cold in Tromsø. So I'm living in Tromsø, and it's just, you think that, because it's polar night now, by the way, Balakhilya. 3 days ago, I think we had 2 days ago, the polar night started, so no sun.
Great.
And
Yeah, fantastic. No sun for how much? Almost 2 months, right?
yeah. Well, in practice, it's going to be no sun for maybe 2.5, 3 months, because we have mountains around, so the sun, even if it goes above the horizon, it's not certain that it goes above the mountains.
Right.
But we've like, I mean, so anyway, my point is that when I see all of this, is people think that it's a moment of darkness, but that time is also when you see the light the most, when you appreciate the light the most, and the most wonderful light phenomena are here, with the sunrise and sunset all day, and the aurora borealis, the northern lights.
Yeah, and the colors. I mean, I always really liked the winter colors up there, the blues and steel grays, and not bright colors, but very special colors. Yeah. And they kind of blend in with the color of the water. And yeah. In fact, we had that kind of coloration here, not this week, last week, but the week before when we hiked. And I was telling people that's how it is in the winter in Norway, because it was new snow and it was cloudy, and it was, all those grays and blues, and the trees were dark green against it. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Wow. It's special light. I mean, but again, I guess it's everything's up here. It's like you told me once, like, you gotta be in the mode of goodness to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's true.
You either love Tromsø or you hate it. Like, you move away as fast as you can if you're born here, or you don't.
Yeah.
If you like.
Well, I wasn't born there, and I liked it.
Yeah. But you're the kind of guy that,
Yeah, I was always liking that northern Norway. Yeah.
Did you have cold winters where you're from? Like,
no, where I grew up, no. Occasionally it would get down to like -10 Celsius. Occasionally, but normally around +1 to +5 to -2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then sometimes more, like +8 and 10.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard winter, no. Maybe it snowed 2-3 times in a winter. And that was short-lived, but it was wonderful because the schools would close. And
oh, really?
if it was enough snow, it didn't take much. Then they closed the schools, and we could just go out and play in the snow and go sledding.
So they closed them so that you could actually go out. Was that the thing, or was it that you couldn't get to school because of the snow? Or
well, yeah, the roads were bad. Nobody had any kind of proper equipment for driving in snow.
I guess when you need winter tires and all these things.
Yeah, nobody had winter tires. Nobody. I mean, there was no such thing.
Yeah, I see that. And here it's even, you can't, it's mandatory to put the winter tires on. Like, you can't, at a certain date you need to put them on, even though it's not ice and snow, but just because of safety.
Yeah,
they want everyone to have them on.
Yeah. Same in Quebec in Canada, that the province. In Ontario, it's not like that, but in Quebec, you have to put on winter tires at a certain date. Yeah.
No, it's important. Yeah. We have.
So it just shows the material world is a world of variety, and it's always changing.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very adaptable in the world to not be really stressed by it or affected by it. You just adapt to each new situation that comes. And, some people can't do that, they just can't do that.
Yeah, I guess because you hold on to something else, or you can't give up the...
how you want it to be, or it's, and it's never like you want it to be, is it?
No, that's very true. You never...
no matter how you want it to be, it's never like that. When it's like that, You thought it's not what you wanted it to be, and you want something different. That's the nature of material life, trying to get your happiness from a source that actually has no happiness. And so you have to project pleasure on the objects or the situations or the relationships or something to actually experience pleasure there, but there's no real pleasure there. It's projected pleasure. And that's why you get what you thought would make you happy, but it doesn't. And now you've got to create another
projection
source of happiness, another projection, another, dream.
And it's always this, you're kind of living off the hope, yeah? Like someone said, that the hope is the last thing that leaves a person. Like you're living off the hope that the next thing will be the...
Right. They say hope burns eternal.
Yeah.
No matter what, you're hoping for a better story or a better situation. Yeah.
You know what? It's because this Saturday we're gonna have the live stream about adapting to a changing world. So that's, maybe you could say a couple of words about that. Actually, I have. Well, there's a quote that I read the other day, and that really kind of affected me, and I just reflected on it, and I thought I could maybe share that, and that's also exactly in line with what you're saying now. So maybe that could be something to talk about. Let's see if I can find it. Basically, okay, so I think I'll remember it. So basically, this is a prayer, but this person is praying for the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the strength to change the things that I can change, and the wisdom to tell the difference between the two.
Right.
And I just like, which just creates that peace in a sense, because that some things I can change, and all my efforts, whatever I do, I will not be able to change it and make it different. I just have to accept it and adapt to that situation, whatever it is, and find my goal in something else. And and the strength to change things that you can. Exactly.
But I like the last part, the wisdom to know the difference.
Without that, you're just lost, because you're running around trying to change the things that you can't change, and and
frustrated, and or another thing is sometimes the things you can change maybe shouldn't be changed. You've got to have the wisdom to know, should I change it or not? Does it really need to be changed?
Yeah, I see what you mean. So you're changing things unnecessarily.
There's another saying that I always heard growing up is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
And sometimes we're trying to fix something that's not really broken. Just make it better. Let's make it better. That's the concept. If I do this, it'll make it better. But it's already okay, Just don't try to fix things that aren't broken. I've had a lot of experience with that in things like vehicles, for instance. Nothing wrong with it, but I got to make it better. And it's just like, I can't not do that kind of stuff. Well, I could, but over the years haven't.
Or you mean like
improve on it. But what's interesting in connection with these things we're talking about is, when I came to this particular philosophy of life, I understood I don't really have to change anything. There was that whole concept of always making something better was not a part of this experience with this philosophy. which was unique for me, really. It was like, it was against my nature.
Because you no but I do understand that you were always, for example, traveling. I guess that's some kind of, usually, I mean, you might travel to try to run away from something or change things, or one change, or want to, not have the steady, boring situation, but get out there and
Yeah. But as far as the philosophy and the direction in life, and understanding what is true and what is not, when I met these teachings, I just knew this is perfect. This has got all the answers. This includes everything I need to know. And I don't have to look for anything else.
yeah.
I don't have to change. I might travel, but that's not connected necessarily with trying to change anything. And for the last, 8 years, I don't know, a bunch of years, the traveling was in connection with giving other people this unchangeable teaching.
Yeah.
It wasn't like traveling for sport kind of thing. Just let's go enjoy another place on the planet.
Yeah.
It was like, let's take this absolute message to people who may have never heard this message. Maybe they'll never hear this. If I don't give them this opportunity, they may never hear it.
Yeah, and you can't control, again, like how their reaction will be. So you don't need to worry about that. You just give them the opportunity, and so
yeah,
leave it up to them.
Exactly. Just like when I received this opportunity of this philosophy and way of life, my spiritual master came to Kauai. Kauai is the most northern island in the Hawaiian chain. Well, there's one more tiny one north of that, but the most of the ones that are known.
Yeah.
And it's small, and there were very few people on the island then, especially now. It's much more people, but, and so, it's unlikely that you're really going to meet some teacher of the absolute truth in that kind of place.
Sure.
And I'm living, in the forest, which in Hawaii is basically like a jungle. It's just, in an old Filipino cane camp house, sugarcane camp house.
Oh, really? Did you? But
yeah,
like, did you build that yourself, or did someone?
No. Hawaii, in those years before I got there, and even after I was there, the main crop was sugarcane.
Oh.
And so a lot of the land area of Hawaii was planted in sugarcane. And there was a big sugar company there.
Okay.
And the workers in the cane fields were Filipinos.
Oh.
And so before my time there, they would have these Filipino cane camps.
Yeah.
And so they would have a lot of little single wall, like 1 by 12 thick wall, a small house for the worker. Say you've got a Filipino family, the husband and wife and some kids, and each one had their little house. And then there would be a bigger house where the boss lived. And so this house that we lived in was the remaining boss house, the bigger house of the cane camp that used to be there. All that was basically gone, but this was where the big guy lived.
Okay.
So, but it was long abandoned, and so we just moved in there, and there was no electricity, no running water, no frills. But it was Hawaii. Hey, you don't need those things. We had a little stream running right by.
I was going to say, back in those days, I'm sure you could drink the water from the stream even. Or,
yeah, it was like, a little valley and this little stream. And everywhere the Filipino cane camps were, there was always a lot of fruit trees because they planted fruit trees. I mean, the Filipinos were very self-supportive, agricultural-minded people. So they would always plant avocado trees, mango trees, orange trees, lemon trees, banana trees, lilikoi, which is passion fruit. And so all those were just growing around. And so we had those in the yard. And our drinking water actually was catchment from the roof. It kept run off the roof into a barrel. We used it more for washing our hands and stuff than drinking because the roof was metal roof and it had some rust in it.
I was going to say that was probably,
But that was the general setup. Anyway.
Wow.
So that's where we live. So not only are we on a remote island, but we're in a remote place on this remote island. And lo and behold, so this Rubenanda came there with the idea just to see, I wonder if anybody on Kauai would be interested in this teaching and the chanting. And he just came there to see. And, gave a couple of gatherings, and, like I say, the numbers of people were very small. Everybody there, other than the local people, were either surfers or hippies. And so that's how it was. But the point is, he didn't go to some big metropolis city, with all the amenities and all the promise of, wealth and fame.
A lot
and
of
money
followers and
he just came to this, so small little community. And I was, just very, very ready to hear his message, And so the point is, it's like you just go wherever you go and offer that opportunity. And, maybe somebody will be ready to take it.
Wow.
So it says in scriptures, out of thousands of lifetimes, one may meet a bona fide spiritual master. Thousands of lifetimes. And out of the people who meet such a spiritual master, maybe there's one that will actually understand who this is and what they have to offer and, be very willing to
take the opportunity
to be connected and accept that, So it's a very rare thing,
Wow.
And
and to some people would call that, chance, and some would call it destiny, I guess. But I guess that there's a higher, like, you let go of the control and you just see that everything's arranged according to what your desire in your heart is, like how it's meant to be arranged.
Yeah,
so
that's the key, because it again is a scripturally based fact that the Lord is in our heart and He knows exactly what we want, and when we are ready, He will arrange it for one of His representatives to come into our life in some way. Nowadays it could be through the internet, it could be through, this program, who knows? In those days, it had to be basically personal contact. There was no internet, no smartphones. We didn't even have a phone, period. That was long before mobile phones, The old desk dial-up phone was the only option, and that was not available to us. I mean, we had nothing in connection with that.
And just we could like dial up to random people and start interviewing them and see if they're spiritually realized.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have it. But
yeah.
but I guess there's just to there's a problem there as well, in the sense of when you have internet data available, then it's like you find so many people that perhaps are not leading you in the right direction, or that appear to be. While in the old days, I don't know, it's kind of like you're more, you just have to trust in the higher plan, like that it will be arranged in some way, because you can't go out of your way and look for it, because you can only travel to so many places. Like you had to actually, I guess, physically travel with your body, or
right, yeah.
It's
now information overload is just
exactly.
that. It's overload, and now more people are confused about what is the truth and what is not the truth, and so many things that are presented, either immediately or down the road prove to not be true, so you understand that you were cheated. And even the people that are supposed to be the authorities of truth, they are found to be, just spreading untruth, to satisfy their agendas. And so now people are so afraid and hesitant to get involved with anything, other than the very shallow surface level thing, which is really, not that consequential. And unfortunately, that carries over into personal relationships with people. People are afraid to trust anybody.
Yeah, like that.
Even the husband and wife relationships, are so filled with distrust anymore.
That's true.
Everything is just, a source of anxiety and fear.
Yeah, that's true.
And as soon as you start trusting somebody, then you get burnt.
Exactly.
And so people just back off and just kind of become, untrustworthy of anyone and everyone.
Yeah, and you might have been burnt, quite a lot of times before. Like so that's the situation that you don't want to be in, because that's the most.
Yeah.
I mean, what can? Yeah. I was very, very determined before I met my wife now, Lynn, that I would never get married. I would never, like bind myself in that way to a person anymore, because I had left the relationship coming to Trondheim feeling really that I couldn't be the perfect person for her, and I was just like so frustrated that because I've always wanted to help others, or in some way, so really wanted to help her, but I just couldn't. So I kind of made this promise that, because that ended of course in that frustration and then I just like, so never again. But then things,
that's it.
But the thing is that somehow or other I was given the wisdom to see that some things like that attitude could change, and it was positive for me to change it. Again, what we started talking about, like I saw that I don't need to live in this way. It's not gonna help me forward in my life to have this attitude. It's holding on to the past in that sense, and holding on to what I appear to be to others and what they think about me. It's in a way for my development, actually.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a saying: never say never.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you say that, then it's
and you might be proved wrong. Yeah, it's an interesting journey through life. Like this breaking trail, is a journey, right? Mm-hmm. Life is a journey. And journeys don't always go the way you think or end up like you hoped.
Yeah.
What is another saying? There's so many sayings. The adventure never ends till you get back to the car. So in the spiritual analogy, until you get back home, back to the spiritual world, the adventure never ends. So yeah, but it's in And a true spiritual journey is a very wonderful adventure.
Mm.
And it's like I gave a lecture, public lecture live for Poland yesterday. And the main topic was how to make it so life is not gray and boring.
Oh.
Because material life is always, sooner or later, becomes gray and boring.
Yeah, gets old.
So the main point of the lecture was spiritual life is never gray and never boring. Real spiritual life, not pseudo-spiritual life.
Mm.
Because that's what life is, that connection, with the spiritual world and the supreme spiritual personality, etc. And, it's ever fresh. So everything here is maybe so fresh in the beginning and so bright and so exciting and exhilarating and, filled with excitement. But after some time, it gets boring.
Yeah.
It just starts fading. It's like the sun in Tromsø. It starts fading. Things start getting
gray. You can't do
gray.
anything about it.
Can't do anything about it. And, the hot relationships start getting cold. That's one of the experiences that we have in these mature relationships. What was so warm and so wonderful and, hot, in many ways it starts getting cooled down and cold,
Yeah.
And,
Totally.
that's material life, isn't it? It's just a reality that, we need to accept as is the material reality. But that doesn't mean that's everywhere in every situation. In the spiritual dimension, it's the opposite of that.
And that's something we can implement to our life as well right now. Like, we don't need to wait until it's not heaven that we're speaking about. It's not some distant experience, different time, different. It's a real practical thing.
Right. So, you go ahead.
I need to put some firewood on my fire.
I saw it was going on. Things are getting cold.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was, how about the fire? Because I feel it's getting colder in my back right now.
Yeah.
But maybe we wanted to keep it short, so maybe we could even, have a little kirtan, and then I'll.
Okay.
While you're starting and getting the guitar, I'll just put on some.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let's do that. So the mantra is the same. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Everybody.
Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo. Goranga Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo. Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, 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 Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo. Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo. Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Hari,
Haribo.
hari, hari, haribo. Dum, dum, dum. All right.
Yeah, little Sankirtan to brighten up the day.
Brighten up the day. Get the sun to rise on the inside instead of rising on the outside, which it won't for the next 2 months.
Right. Bright sunshiny day inside, always. If
Yeah.
if we so choose, really. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, Balakhilya. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah, thank you. So
thanks to all
we'll,
listening.
we'll be with you next time.
Next time. Yeah.
Keep the home fires burning.
I will. All right. Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste, Haribo.
Haribo.